This video is made for adult collectors because big.
Alright, I was gonna shoot a fancy intro for this, but I'm just deciding not to because this is even funnier. This is the table I make videos on. That side's a little bit of a mess, but we gloss over that. This is the area I do it. Here he is. And right up here is my Studio Series leader shelf. It's kind of dark. And G1 grapple. And he doesn't fit. He's too big. What am I gonna do? I don't know what to do.
I think this is the biggest official Transformers toy. There are photos of this next to HasLab Unicron, and it's slightly bigger. And I think the YOLO Park giant things are like 24 inches tall. This thing is 31 inches tall and was very difficult to build, but we'll get to that later. But for a little size comparison right off the bat, here's a Core, here's a Scout, here's a Deluxe, here's a Voyager, here's a Leader, here's a Commander, and here's a Titan. This shit's massive. This entire thing was sent over by Agora Models. It's a giant model kit and it's a subscription. You get a box once a month for that price. Granted, you could do it monthly and like it makes it easier, but it's cool. It's made of die cast and plastic. There's electronics and stuff. So if you want to dive into the commitment of this, then check it out. Link in the description down below. Thank you very much, Agora Models, for sending this my way. Now back to the actual toy. This is giant and it's impressive looking. And it feels impressive. It weighs, I think, about 28.5 pounds or 13 kilograms and has approximately 600 parts, not including screws. And there are a lot of screws. And the build was challenging. You're basically manufacturing a giant action figure. You are building a very big 3.0 DLX toy. And it's tough. There are loads of nooks and crannies that you have to get screws into, and the labeling isn't the most user-friendly thing, so I highly recommend grabbing like 20 little trays to put screws in and then label them. And the PW and PWB stuff on the screws is important, please remember that. And get like a really long and thin and small Phillips head screwdriver. None of the magnets are labeled either, which means you end up putting some in the wrong place and then getting them out is a real pain in the ass, but again, we'll get to that later. This thing though, I really like the level of detail and how chunky everything looks. And the parts separation is actual parts because it's model kit, so it works so well. I love all the bits of yellow peeking out around the limbs. The metallic finish is also really lush and does a very good job at blending the die cast with the plastic. Makes it look like on first glance that they're all the same material, which, you know, kudos to that. And the plastic feels fine. It doesn't feel like model kits, but it doesn't feel like this either. A Hasbro Leader feels slightly better still. The metal does feel nice though too, and it's what makes this thing heavy, but it's not in stupid places. You know, some third-party toys just put die cast on for the sake of having it and it drags the toy down a bit. This has it like the entire lower legs being die cast along with parts of the arm that need to be die cast, the torso parts that need to be, and the joints. Well, all the joints are metal. Don't know what they're die cast or not, but they're metal. And the waist joint is rated for like 20 kilograms, so hey, that's strong enough. The actual construction of this is done well too, like the way they make you build the skeleton. It means nothing's gonna come off or fall apart. Plus, building it gives you a sense of how much range you're gonna get out of each joint, and it makes it easier to like pose it when you first get it, so you're not gonna break it. But we'll get to that later. Actually, later is right now. There is one massive issue I have with this, and that is the repairability. This kit has an over-reliance on glue, super glue. And for little details and shit like that, it's fine, right? That makes sense. But here it uses it on massive sections that are important and very unforgiving if you get something wrong, which like a few people who buy this will probably do something wrong. Now, I built this live, and doing so brings a lot of other factors like distraction and time and stuff, and I messed something up on this. And because of the glue, I cannot fix it. I fucked up the wiring. I've accidentally plugged the speaker wire into the eye plug and the eyes into the speaker plug. And all I need to do is swap them around. Easy fix. I have a solution, but I cannot get into it. These shoulder sections, which you can see the vents are missing, they fell out and they can't go back on. These parts are glued over the screws and I cannot get the covers off to get to the screw holes to take the top off to get to the wires and fix it. These wires should have had an easy access door because if something breaks, you can't fix it. It isn't great. Messing up the wires, like the placement, is totally my fault. I messed that up. That's me. But because of the way this is built, I cannot go in and fix it without breaking it. I might just break it and then customer service some new parts in. But that's like my only massive complaint here. The articulation does introduce some little nitpicks. And then a problem. He does come with some cool stuff, an axe, which you can swap out on his hand and then it lights up. though I wish it lit up more of the axe and not just the shaft. You get a matrix, a big one, which you can hold and it lights up. It can also open and close, but it doesn't lock, so it's kind of fiddly and flimsy. And the gun, which has loads of opening slots to show details and things. He looks good holding it, and it opens up to him being super dynamic in poses, well, all the accessories do. Though the magnet on the top piece is not super strong on mine, it just likes to fall off. And it's not like a North and South Pole mix-up, it just doesn't stay.
So before I get into the posing, let's get into the rest of the lights first. The remote's over here. So you get this remote, which, by the way, here's the remote. And here is, well, here's a picture of my dog. But here is a 6.4-inch screen phone. So you can tell that that's about the size of the remote. But there are two on switches. There's an on switch on this guy at the back where you pull this cap. I'm not spinning him around. The smokestack will hit things. You take this off. You flick the switch on. It takes 4 AA's in this guy. The axe and the matrix both take LR57, I think, and then LR44s, and the gun takes AA's. This also, if I can get it open, takes AA's. So lots of batteries on this guy. But now to turn the remote on, you press this button, and then you would press the eye button to light up the eyes, but it just makes the speaker buzz, and I'm not going to do that because I don't want to blow the speaker. And then the music button will start making the eyes flash and the mouth move. I don't want to do that because I don't want to short the eyes out. But the mouth does move when he speaks, which is very nice. But you have this button right here. When you press it, the lights on his chest go on. And then you have another button here that's the matrix, which is for the matrix on the inside. If I press it, the matrix on the inside lights up, which is very cool. And then my favorite part is the feet. Oh, that's not far enough. That's still not far enough. This thing's so big. The feet. So when you press this button right here, the lights turn on. However, you press it again, his hazards flash, which is pretty neat. But yeah, that's pretty sick. Now, one thing to note that I have just noticed. All of the lights were working before I started shooting this video. Those are not working anymore. That's unfortunate. That is working. That's not working. Okay. That plays more into my repairability issues. That's fun. I kicked the camera. Head is on a ball joint. It is a little bit wibbly, and then it's on a double hinge down in the neck. So you can look up that far, you can look down that far. There isn't really much tilt. Kind of wish there was, but you can look left and right. Don't do 360 because there's wires in the head. These shoulders, they can rotate. The chest is coming down. They can rotate forward and back. You slide them out. They go out about that far. And then they have butterfly joints as well. The bicep rotation goes about that far that way and that far that way. But he does rotate. He does have double jointed elbows. And when you bend it, the elbow pad extends, which is pretty cool. And then the hands. You have a hinge here that can hinge this thing forward and back. You have a hinge at the hand itself, and then it's basically just a human hand of articulation. You get splay, you get all of your finger motions, the cap on the thumb can fall off, the thumb moves, so you get all of that. Now, he does also have waist rotation, so you can rotate the waist. It only goes about that far both ways. He does kind of sort of have an ab crunch. Like that's as far as it doesn't move that far. Oh. It doesn't move that far. It also makes terrible sounds when you're trying to pose this thing, which I don't advise posing it very much because apparently me putting it into like the basicest poses possible broke that wire somehow. And I can't get it out to fix it because everything is sealed in glue. So the hip skirts can move out. They can all move out. The sides, the back. The hips. Do I need to? Oh, I need to show this off. The arm forward. Okay, here we go. The hips. Oh, I'm gonna break my shelf. Okay, well you get it. The hips move. They move forward and back. They go a full 90 forward and back. He does have thigh rotation, which is very stiff. There you go. He does have thigh rotation. He has double jointed knees. you know how double jointed knees work. And then the ankles can pivot. Let me show the ankles. The ankles can pivot. Oh, they do pivot. They also have this piece that comes out right here. You pull this out, the ankle can extend and can go forward. And if I drop this, it's gonna fall. But the ankles can go forward and back. Let's get that cap back in there. Now, you notice there's a lot of motion. There's a lot of motion. These don't have felt pads underneath them. I really wish they did, because he slides a lot on a slick surface like this. He always wants to fall on a desk. And then the even better part is, even with all those like big metal joints I was talking about, we're gonna have to go back here for this. There's my light. He rocks quite a bit. I'm over here now. He rocks a fair amount on the ankles. Let me show you. There's the ankles. They're not coming off the ground. He just rocks that much on the joints. The only reason he's not going any farther back like that is because the smokestack is hitting my shelf. But he's not stable. He is something you very much just put in a pose and leave there and never touch it again. Which is unfortunate because it costs a lot and you would want it to be able to mess with it, but it's not reliable. You can't repair it. The light broke, and yeah, I still can't get, oh my god, I still can't get, that just died. Literally on the stream, you can see me turned it on and the feet work and they got hazards and it's great. And now it's broken.
So he is a big boy who you can do big boy things with, but at a big boy price. It's a lot. Like, the subscription model thing is a good way to shunt some of that cost. Like, you aren't paying for it all up front. You're paying a little bit a month. But it is still a lot. Like, it's worth the money because of how massive it is in both size and how much of a project it is. I love little projects like this, so it's great. But it is still expensive. If you like a project, this is great. It reminds me of building the UCS Falcon because that took forever. I don't have it anymore. And it felt like that. But the UCS Falcon wasn't $1,600 US in total. And the repairability of this kit really drags part of it down for me because it's something with electronics that you are building. I feel like that should have been more modular. Like, have the matrix compartment fold down or the front matrix removable. It's on a magnet, but only comes out a little bit and then doesn't go any further. But it's like the RoboSense. If you have the cash lying around each month and you want something like this, it's super niche, but it will totally appeal to that type of person. And then I highly recommend it for that type of person. Otherwise, it definitely isn't for the average Transformers collector. It does look good on my Optimus Prime shelf, though, so there is that. But that's my look at the Agora Models Optimus Prime. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.